We're at the NACO stand now to talk about, well, what could potentially be the future fueling for aircraft. A lot of people are predicting hydrogen is going to be the future, and I think you guys are certainly backing that. So we've got Gopal from NACO and Daan, who's from the Rotterdam The Hague Airport. So let's start with the airport. You're looking to implement hydrogen. Tell us a bit about why you're doing that and where we are with the sort of testing on that.
We're actually doing that by becoming a research and development airport within the Schiphol group, and we do that to foster innovation in this specific new field of aviation, fuels in this particular matter. So we know that we need to step up to develop this together with different parties in the value chain, and therefore decided to dive into this specific field of hydrogen.
I know there's a lot of people convinced this is going to be the aviation fuel of the future. At NACO, you're kind of helping them implement that. So tell us a little bit about your role and I guess how you're helping with this sort of fitting out the airport and going from there.
So I think it starts with our core business. It's historically been airport master planning, airport development, engineering work, and building sustainability into that was really a natural progression with net zero targets. And so hydrogen is a part of that decarbonization effort. And for us, we're able to combine our experience with airside design as well, and really do, as in this case, a project where we look at storage facilities on airside, really looking at the impact on operations and infrastructure and airport planning.
And what have been the challenges for you, Dan? You know you want to do it, but you kind of need the expertise from NACO to come in and say, look, this is how you need to implement it. What have been the challenges?
Basically, the challenge is that the complete domain is new for aviation, and especially for airport operators. We know that NACO has specific knowledge in spatial planning at airports, but also external safety, safety distancing. So we require this specific knowledge to be able to finish the design, choose the location for the liquid hydrogen storage. So those are the hurdles that we overcome with the help of NACO in this case.
And just on, I suppose, the vision of where we're going. I know we're not there yet in terms of a viable passenger aircraft, but companies like Zero Avia are doing great work. So where are we, do you think, how far away are we from that sort of real life where passengers are going to board a hydrogen aircraft?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have 2035 as a dot on the horizon, so the introduction of the Airbus Zero E aircraft. Before that, several startups are planning to introduce retrofitted aircraft, Zero Avia, Conscious Aerospace, H2Fly, Universal Hydrogen. So we want to be prepared for that, let's say 2030. But we, in general, as well, European aviation in general, needs to adapt in this field, especially on airports, as the knowledge is limited still, infrastructure is limited, also on the production side. So it's a complete new domain that has to be developed in the upcoming years still.
For you, Gopal, say new domain, but you're coming in as the experts within it and understanding how we fit it in. What for you are the real, I guess, difficult bits you've had to overcome and the problems you've solved?
So I think from a technical perspective, the biggest thing is the regulations are written for applications in the chemical industry or in heavy goods processing. And so applying that in an operational environment like an airport, I think is really a big challenge. And so there's a lot of areas where the regulation exists or works. And then when you get to the question of really putting a fueling hose into an aircraft or a drone, that's where that regulation is missing. So it's using, I think, our technical expertise in other industries as well to then translate that to an operation and a concept that works really well for all the end users.
Are you hoping that this will be a bit of a test case for other airports who ultimately, that's kind of where we're going, where hydrogen's where it's going to be?
Absolutely. So we've worked with some other airports as well. So we've worked in the Netherlands and outside. And what we're really seeing is that a little bit of groundwork today to do these tests and trials can give us a wealth of lessons to learn so that in 5, 10, 15 years when these aircraft are available, we're ready to go and get with it pretty fast.
Do you think the Netherlands is sort of a little bit ahead of the game with hydrogen anyway because of sort of the number of vessels, the boats that are on hydrogen? You guys are a little bit ahead with infrastructure as well.
I think we are lucky to be a fairly small airport, so we can innovate in a faster pace, that's one. And we're lucky to have the port of Rotterdam, so the biggest seaport of Europe, in our backyard. Currently responsible for roughly a quarter of the kerosene supply in Europe, and responsible in 2030 for 40% of the hydrogen import in Europe, in the European Union. But already knowledgeable in that domain with a hydrogen production plant by Air Products and a liquefaction plant, one of the three in Europe. So we kind of lean on that knowledge domain and that ecosystem which is just around the corner, just like the Technical University of Delft with the aerospace faculty, and our hub airport Schiphol, only 40 minutes drive away. So, a nice area to develop in. Yeah, definitely.
And is that the lesson everyone else has to learn about infrastructure? No, we want green hydrogen, we don't want blue or grey, we want it to be green, we've got to produce it, we've got to make sure it gets from the place that it's made to the airports. Is that a big issue at the moment? Well, of course it is a big issue, but how do we solve it?
So I mean, I think the biggest approach, and I think as Daan already highlighted, is making use of what exists in the local environment. So I think one of our biggest lessons from this project was involving the authorities at every step of the way. And I think it's really about looking at your strengths in your local environment. So some markets will be import driven, some will be producers themselves, and understanding how an airport fits into that local, regional and national context is really the key, I think, to unlocking these opportunities to make it at least feasible on a technical and economic level.
Right. Gopal and Daan, thank you so much for telling me about it. Exciting future ahead, so appreciate it.